Why do plants produce seeds? The seed of a plant contains an embryo from which a new plant will grow. It also contains a food store to nourish the embryo until it has developed roots and leaves. The seed is enclosed in a tough coat to protect it from drying out. Many seeds are carried by the wind. Some, like the dandelion below, have fluffy umbrellas which carry them for long distances. Others have wings that allow the seed to glide or spin around like a helicopter blade. Fact file: the seed of the cocoa de mer can travel long distances by sea until it is washed up onto shore. In the warm sand, it sprouts and starts to grow into a new palm tree. Why do trees have leaves? Green plants and trees need leaves to help them manufacture food. Leaves of fruit trees, for example, make the food that helps to make the fruit. For example, peaches and maple sugar are sweet, so peach and maple tree leaves produce sugar. They do this by taking carbon dioxide from the air and water and nutrients from the soil. This process is called photosynthesis. Leaves contain many little green bodies called chloroplasts, which act as the machine to produce the sugar. Sunshine is the power that runs these little machines. Fact file: in the autumn, many leaves change color and drop from the tree. The reason for this is because the tree will not need to grow in the winter, so it conserves its energy by losing its leaves. Why are there so many flower shapes? The reason that flowers come in so many different shapes and colors is to help ensure that they are fertilized. Flowers that rely on insects for pollination must make sure that the insect is carrying pollen from the same kind of plant. The shape of the flower ensures that only certain kinds of insects can pollinate it. Flat flowers, such as daisies and sunflowers, can be visited by hoverflies and some bees. Flowers that are formed into tubes only attract insects that have long tongues. Fact file: bees are attracted to the color and scent of a flower. They feed on the nectar in the flower and gather pollen, which they store in sacs on their legs. Why are some flowers very colorful? A flower is the means by which a plant reproduces. It contains male or female organs or both together. Flowers usually have brightly colored petals or sepals. The reason that flowers are so brightly colored and perfumed is to attract insects. Insects play a very important part in pollinating them. Some plants also produce a sugary liquid called nectar, which attracts the bees. As they fly from flower to flower, they transfer the pollen to the stigma of the flower and fertilize it. Fact file: did you know that the bat's long tongue is perfect for whisking out the nectar from a flower? Pollen is brushed onto the bat's fur as it moves from flower to flower. Why are spiders not insects? Spiders belong to the class of arachnids, which also include scorpions, ticks, and mites. None of these are actually classed as insects. Unlike insects, they have 8 legs, 8 eyes in most cases, no wings, and only 2, not 3 parts to their bodies. Spiders are found in practically every kind of climate. They can run on the ground, climb plants, run on water, and some even live in water. The spider manufactures a silk, which it uses to spin its web in certain glands found in the abdomen or belly. At the tip of the abdomen, there are spinning organs which contain many tiny holes. The silk is forced through these tiny holes. When the silk comes out, it is a liquid. As soon as it comes in contact with the air, it becomes solid. Spiders are meat eaters, feeding on insects and other spiders which it traps in its web. Fact file: the scorpion is related to the spider. A scorpion has 4 pairs of walking legs and a pair of strong pincers which it uses to grasp its prey. It also has a long, thin, jointed tail which ends in a curved, pointed stinger. This stinger is connected to poison glands. Why are some insects brightly colored? There are many different ways in which insects will try to protect themselves from their enemies. Some insects, such as wasps and ants, have powerful stings or are able to shower their attackers with poisonous fluid. The hoverfly does not sting, but its coloring is so like that of a wasp or bee that enemies are very wary of it. Other insects, such as stick insects, use camouflage. They look like the leaves and twigs among which they feed. The bright coloring on some insects warns its enemies that it may be poisonous. Fact file: a ladybird is a very brightly colored insect. The ladybird is a very useful insect in the garden as it will eat the aphids which eat your plants and flowers.